Good day, everybody. My name is Paul, and welcome to the Bucks County Homes and Living Show. We have a great show for you today with our guest, Jackie Hill with Spirit of Redesign. Jackie, thanks for stopping out
Thanks for
with
having
us
me.
today. Hey, Jackie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am new to Bucks County. Been in
Okay.
Bucks County about 2 years. Moved here with my husband. I have my own interior design business. It's entitled Spirit of Redesign.
Okay.
Within that business, I do home staging, which is what we're going to talk about today,
Yes.
and I also do event planning.
Okay.
I started my business back in January of '07 after retiring from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with 31 years of service.
Excellent.
And what else can I tell you about me? I also have a background in real estate, which
Okay.
helps me in my business. I
Sure.
sold real estate for 12 years
Oh.
in Pennsylvania.
Okay, terrific. And if you'd like to ask Jackie any questions today, you can leave a message on our Facebook page at Good Life Bucks County, or you can Twitter us at Bucks County Live. Okay, so Jackie, tell us a little bit about your experience in the home staging business there. A little background, more about how you got involved in doing home staging.
Like I said, I started my business about 7 years ago, and having had sold real estate, I started out with interior design,
Okay.
and then branched out with home staging, realizing that the experience that I gained from doing interior design, that I could
Right.
stage homes, and having know what buyers are expecting and what sellers are expecting,
Mhm.
and having had been a realtor, it made it easy to add a home staging to my business.
Okay, so that came in like afterwards. from
That
the
came in
interior
about
design.
5 years ago. I
Right.
started home staging.
Okay.
And the last couple of years, it's been a very popular thing in the
Sure.
real estate industry. So
Definitely, I think with, like you said, mentioned with your real estate background, knowing about what buyers expect and what sellers expect, I'm sure has helped you, in your with your experience in interior design to do a great job in home
Yes.
staging.
yes.
Terrific. Jackie, we have a question from Amy, and Amy's in Ben Salem. She asked a question of, what home shows do you like to watch?
Well, my favorite home show is HGTV. There's several shows that I watch. Most of the time I tape them so that I can watch them when I want to sit down and relax.
Right.
I enjoy the House Hunter shows.
Okay.
I enjoy the brothers, the twins brothers. And I enjoy House Hunters International.
Okay.
Most of the shows that I watch, again, like for relaxation, or the HGTV shows. And you get ideas, and your average person can pick up some ideas off of the shows, but they relax me. A lot of times I'll fast forward to the end just to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
most of those are the shows that I like, Amy.
Okay, excellent. So can you explain to our audience here, what home staging actually is?
Home staging is preparing your property for sale or rent, because you can prepare it for rent too,
Okay.
so that you can obtain the maximum price for the shortest period of time. Research has shown that a staged home sells about 5 to 17% higher than an unstaged home.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at an example, take a $500,000 home, you
Okay.
could actually make about $25,000 more because you may have staged your home, and a buyer won't tend to cut the price on a staged home.
Okay. And how much, I know for myself, my clients, they're always concerned about how much is it going to cost for home staging. Are you going to make them put out like $50,000, $5,000? What do you see as some averages of what doing a home stage actually costs?
When you think about it, when you list a property and you take that first cut on the property, it's usually several thousands of dollars.
Sure.
And if you would have staged your home in the beginning, it may have cost you anywhere from $200 to $650.
Okay.
Because that staged home is going to present a lot better.
Sure.
And so it really doesn't cost as much as people think it costs.
Okay.
There are times when I make recommendations to stage a home, that may we may buy a few accessories or things like that. But most of the time, those things people can take with them.
Okay.
But in reality, it's the seller's final word. They have the final say.
Sure. Now, at what point in the process should a seller bring in a home stager? You know, right before they sell, months in advance?
Well,
what do you recommend?
I always say bring them in, because you're a realtor.
Yes.
Bring them in before the realtor comes, because they're going to impress the realtor. But most of the time, I am brought in by a realtor.
Sure.
Realtor will bring me in. You really want to stage your home and get it ready before it goes on the market.
Okay.
What you don't want is to have a buyer go in and your house not be staged, and then they don't like what they see, and they have a lot of objections. Whereas had we staged it, we could have probably got rid of a lot of those objections in the beginning. Okay.
And what types of small changes would you possibly recommend? You know, we can maybe get into some of the bigger projects later you may recommend, but what are a couple small things? Can you give us an example of a couple of small things that you've recommended people to do that really changed the look of the house?
When I meet with a client, normally I am looking for to make their home better with the things that they currently have. Okay. I'm not looking for them to, I'm not going in doing an interior design project. I'm going the staging project. And most of the time that is basically rearranging, decluttering, depersonalizing, maybe rehanging some artwork. There are times when I will move furniture from one room to another to stage it. So we're not looking to do and spend a lot of money. You know, small changes, small dollar amounts, maybe a few pieces of art. If a seller can paint, we may ask them to paint a room. Okay. Just to get rid of to neutralize it, to get rid of a color that may not be usable to every buyer. Okay. So small changes. Yeah. Now a lot of sellers today, a lot of homeowners I see today have some bold colors in some of the rooms. You know, are you finding they're more acceptable to buyers now, that they're seeing them more like on HGTV shows, or do you generally have to tone down some of the colors a little bit? Well, paint on the walls is not as harmful unless it's really, really shocking and bold, as it used to be, because most of your average buyers are used to going out into like open houses where they have show homes, and most of those walls have paint on them. The difference is it going to be neon green versus a soft green? Right. Or a mellow yellow versus a really soft yellow. Sure. So we're looking to neutralize it, and neutralizing doesn't mean you have to paint everything white. Okay. You know, neutralizing means we have to maybe tone it down. Okay. All right, terrific. And we have a question from Jennifer from Yardley area. You know, what steps are involved in the home staging process? What steps are involved? Right. Can you walk us through from the beginning when you first walk in? How you go about the whole process? What I'm doing is when I walk up to the door, I'm automatically, well, first of all, I let my clients know I'm going to go through every stitch of their house. Okay. And that sometimes scares individuals, but we have to get them ready to put their house on the market. And the buyer's going to go through every stitch of their home. Sure. So I'm basically starting with the exterior as I walk up to the door, making notes. When I go inside, I'm going from room to room, making notes, getting things, making recommendations. What you don't want to do is have a stager come out and think that they're going to give you all the ideas and you're not going to pay them. That would be unfair. Okay. Because that has happened. Well, they want all of your ideas, but we're coming out to make recommendations and to do those recommendations. Okay. 99% of the time when I go into an individual's home, I can make a difference. Okay, great. But I'm looking to get the house, like I said, get the house ready to go on the market, and give them ideas that will save them money or heartaches. Sometimes you've gone into a home and you might smell an odor.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real.
Sure.
Might be a cat odor, might be a smoker. And a lot of times the buyer doesn't even want to go through the home. And we want to kill those objections because, we want our clients, our sellers to get top dollars for their home.
Sure, definitely. Okay. And then, so you make the recommendations, and then the seller would be, now do you actually rearrange the furniture? Do you hire people to come in to rearrange, or they have the sellers rearrange? What do you see as normal?
Most stagers, I really should say all stagers, should be rearranging. They shouldn't be having the seller rearrange, because we're there to make the difference. We're there, again, to declutter, to make it more attractive to the buyer. We're there to make sure that a door can be open. It's not furniture in front of you. You're laughing because you've had to try to open up a door and you couldn't get through because of the toys or the furniture. We're trying to make sure that the home is real easy for a realtor to walk through and show their client.
Sure.
We're trying to make sure that if that buyer doesn't buy it, that the next buyer might buy it if it's a good fit for that buyer. So, that's what we're there to do. We're there to do all of the moving, the rearranging, the hanging. I do those things. I move furniture. I move, like I said, pictures, artwork, mirrors. But we're trying to make it so that when the buyer walks through the home, they can feel like they can put their self inside the home. A lot of people, especially if you've been in your home for a long time, you tend to get used to things.
Sure.
And you have to put your buyer eyes on so that you can get your house ready to be sold.
Definitely. And one of the things I always say is, the way you live in a house and the way you sell a house is two different things.
It's two different things.
Yeah,
when I go in, I tell my clients, because realtors love me, I tell my clients, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to get your house sold. So a lot of times a stager can be a little more harsh than the realtor, because we're not out to get the commission. We're out to you're out to get your house sold, but we're really out to just get it sold and present it.
Right.
And so we can go in and say the things that a realtor might not want to say. I tell them straight up front, you might not like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be honest with you. And most of the clients really, really appreciate that. They appreciate that list of repairs that they might have to do. Or, like I said, getting back to some of the things like, you need to clean your house up, or, just even dusting.
Sure.
A clean house to a buyer says they took care of their house.
Yes.
When something was broken, it got fixed.
Right.
And that's what that buyer wants to see.
Sure.
If you go into a house, it's not staged, it's full of clutter, one or two things is going to happen. It's either not going to sell, or they're going to come in and they're going to try to lowball you.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Now, do you get involved in recommendations for outside the house also?
Yes. Okay. I will make recommendations for painting of the door, selection of, if someone wants to put a nice reef on their door, changing out of hardware, changing out of lights, anything that has to do with purchasing or shopping for a home, I can make those recommendations, or I can even shop for those things, because I do shop for my clients in the interior design part of my business. I may tell them they need to remulch, clean up the weeds. Sure. There might be cracked awnings, might be missing the numbers signs, because the first impression is the walking up to the door.
Definitely. And, in today's world, everybody, looks online first. They pick out some homes that they like, and they all drive by. And, if the outside doesn't look good, they assume right away that the inside doesn't look good. Yeah, definitely. Now, what kind of questions would you recommend a seller ask a potential home stager that they may contact? Hopefully they'll contact you, but, in general, if they want to get a couple opinions, what kind of questions should, do you recommend that a seller would ask?
I would ask, and what my clients ask me, or what I provide for my clients, is the first thing you want to make sure, because a stager most of the time is going to be in your home when you're not there.
Okay.
And so you want to trust that this person is insured. So you need to make sure they're showing you paperwork that says they're insured. Okay. So if they break something in your home, they'll be able to replace it.
Okay.
Second of all, you want to get references from your person. You want to know that someone else used them and they were pleased with them, mm-hmm. whether it be from a client or from a realtor that used you in the past. I've had clients. I had one client recently. We staged her house. I got called in on Monday. I started staging Monday, Tuesday, because I shop Monday, staged Tuesday. They came in to take the pictures on Wednesday. And you know, you gotta love this. And on Sunday, they had an open house and they got 3 offers.
Excellent.
And it's sold for over asking. And that's what staging will do, because sure. It will get it looking really, really good.
Yeah.
And even though you may think your house looks good, or you have it may be set up, like I said, you live in it.
Yeah.
And that's not the same as selling your home.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you get pushback from sellers, in some of the recommendations that you make? Some that just say, I'm not going to do anything, or do you find that sellers are pretty open to what you have to say? Most
sellers are open to, of course, working with what they have.
Okay.
By the time I get there, a lot of times, sometimes the realtor has already told them some of the things. So my knowledge is a reinforcement to what a realtor is saying. Maybe even replacing carpet, or painting, or replacing a light fixture. Mm-hmm. Some realtors say, I'm not going to do it. So I'm giving them the recommendations to sell their home. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the final say is up to the seller.
Right.
But I go back to that same thing. Your house doesn't sell 30 days, 60 days. Sure. Now I'm taking a several $1,000 reduction, right, when you could have just replaced those things, because people are complaining about the things that you've been told by your realtor or you've been told by your stager. And sure, now you want to do those things and you've lost marketing time. And as you know, as a realtor and being a realtor, oh, well, it's been on now 60 days, it's 90 days.
After 30 days, you get that now. Yeah. That's
right. Right. People want to lowball you, right, and you don't want to do that. What you don't also want, what staging helps, is that appraiser. Believe it or not, when the appraiser comes in, they have different ranges too, high, sure, medium, low, and you don't want them to say, well, this house has not been maintained because it doesn't look good. Mm-hmm. And when I say look good, I'm talking about just cleaning carpets or replacing carpets or fixtures. They don't always discount those things. They look at those things. Mm-hmm. They look at, well, the age of a home, but then they also look how well maintained it is. Sure. Also, when they have certain categories.
Right. And sometimes, if people have some, like say, an older kitchen or some older bathrooms, the rest of the condition of the house and how it shows has a lot to do with, if a buyer is going to be interested in buying the house, even though maybe the kitchen, right, is older, just because the house presents itself, on the way in. So speaking of that, what, which rooms do you feel are most important as far as staging properly for, when a seller puts a house on the market? Let's say they don't want to do it, stage every room. What do you feel are the most important rooms?
Well, to me, the most important rooms to stage are the most important rooms, I hate to say it, to a female, because this is that's who buys the house. That's who normally makes the decision on selecting a house. So we want to appear to everyone. And the main rooms that they're looking at are the living room, mm-hmm, the kitchen, the master bedroom, the bathrooms. So you want to make sure that those rooms are top notch. As little as when you go into the kitchen, just maybe changing out the light fixture. The average light fixture at Lowe's is anywhere from $50 to $100. Mm-hmm. it can be changed by a handyman if you're not handy. Another $50 to a handyman to change out a light fixture.
Sure.
Doesn't cost that much. Putting new knobs on the cabinets,
Okay.
making sure the doors are working, cleaning it up, cleaning off all the counters, taking
Sure.
everything off the refrigerator. Just like I said, decluttering it.
Right.
You want the buyer to come in a house and put themselves inside the house. If you have all your personal things in a house, they're going to just look at your stuff.
Yeah.
And we don't want them to look at the stuff. We want
Right.
them to buy the
Look
house.
at the house, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and even in a vacant home, I've staged vacant homes. In a vacant home, I recently staged it was 4 fireplaces in the home. I staged all the fireplaces, and I put accessories in the kitchen and hung some window treatment in the kitchen. Didn't cost them that much, because those things I staged them with were my things.
Okay.
They just rented my things.
Sure.
So, I mean, you can get into staging a vacant home also, because you can rent furniture, depending on what your budget is. Or you can, like you said, you can just maybe paint walls.
Okay.
Sometimes you might want to paint that master bedroom or that master bathroom
Yeah,
or
definitely.
that kitchen. Like I said, just cleaning it up. Sometimes it really doesn't take that much money.
Yeah, and the master bedroom, I always say, how important the master bedroom is, because the person paying the bill for the mortgage,
It's going to
it's
stay
gonna
in
stay
that
there.
room, and that's going to catch their eye.
Oh yeah, and you can have, sometimes I've recommended just change the carpet in the master bedroom, and the other bedrooms they always feel like they can change later.
Right.
But make my master bedroom
Make
really
it good. And declutter it. If it's a big room but you have so much furniture in it and they can't
Definitely.
move around, then they're going to think it's a lot smaller.
Sure.
Even though you may have the measurements on your multi-list sheet, they may say, well, they can't see that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it might mean taking a dresser out or taking a chair out,
Yeah.
just to make it appear, or moving the bed. A lot of times I will move the bed will be on the wrong wall.
Okay.
Make your bed a nice focal, or just get a new bedspread. Sometimes makes a big difference.
Yeah. Now, wallpaper is a big issue out here sometimes. It seems like the buyers today don't like wallpaper, and sometimes it's, because the sellers are so used to it,
Right.
they don't like it. In a small room, in a powder room, or one room, but when it's the entire house, what's your thoughts on wallpaper in today's world, and how do you go about, what do you recommend to sellers who have a lot of wallpaper?
Well, you really want them to take it down, but sometimes they don't want to
Yes.
take it down. So there's 2 things that can happen. Well, really 3. They can take it down, they can paint over it, or we can stage it, neutralize the room, so that's the only pattern that's in the room,
Okay.
is the wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how old it is, sometimes you can paint over it. You can prime over it and you can paint over
Okay.
it. The same thing with paneling. You have the same thing with paneling.
Sure.
People don't realize that you really can paint over paneling. You just got to prime it first, and then you can paint over it, a nice cream or white color to make the room appear bigger.
Yeah.
But most buyers don't want to deal with wallpaper. They don't
Yeah,
want to have to take it down. So we recommend that you take it down, but it depends on the person's budget. So
Sure.
we have to work within, a stager has to work within the seller's budget. And like I said, there's ways of making it work.
Right.
I've gone in, like I said, where there's been wallpaper, and then they'll have pattern furniture, they'll have pattern window treatment, and we may just put a slip cover on the couch. We may
Okay.
just put some soft window treatment to try to tone it down just a little bit so it's not so overwhelming for
Right.
a buyer.
Yeah, I always hear the comment, how expensive it's going to be to take down the wallpaper? I say, yes, I do. That's what, and the buyer's going to think the same thing, how much time and expense it's going to
take
take.
it down.
I said, so if you don't do it, you're going to have that problem there. Now, how long does a typical staging project take? Is it a week long, a day or 2 on the average, a couple weeks? What do you see as far as length of time it takes?
Staging really doesn't take as long as people think it does.
Okay.
normally after the first appointment, and a seller gives you the go-ahead to either just stage what they have. Believe it or not, a lot of people have a lot of nice stuff that's just not displayed.
Okay.
It can be displayed a little bit better or cleaned up. Normally I can stage a home anywhere, like I said, from 4 hours to 2 days, depending on how many rooms I'm doing.
Okay.
It takes about 2 hours to stage a room, roughly hour, 2 hours,
Okay.
especially if we're just moving the furniture, rehanging some artwork. But I'm normally doing different rooms simultaneously if
Okay.
I'm moving things around. If I have to shop, it might take me a couple hours to shop for that home. But within that week, that home should be ready to go on the market.
Okay.
Can sellers help you? Do we want them to help us? Not really. In all professions, you want the professional to do the
Sure.
job. So, but I have had sellers say, well, Jackie, I want you to restage my home, but I will do the cleaning, and I will do some of the decluttering. When I say decluttering, that means like taking the family photos down, cleaning up the toys, moving all the toys out, those type of things. So when I'm coming in, it saves me time, saves them money.
Right.
Okay, so like I said, staging depends on the person's budget.
Okay. Great. And we have a question from Tony, who's in Percy. And I think you might have covered this a little bit too. Do you have, if work has to be done, do you have contractors that you normally recommend that you use all the time to help the seller, get their home staged properly?
I have a team of contractors that I use that are licensed both in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I have a general contractor, I have an electrician, I have a painter, I have a handyman,
Okay.
I have a carpet guy. I belong to a networking group, so I can use any of those individuals out of that group if the seller doesn't have someone that they can use or can do it themselves.
Right.
So most stagers have their people they work with and that
Okay.
they trust, and that I can basically tell my guys, this is how much money I have, and I'm trying to get as much as I can for my
Sure.
little budget.
Yes.
So I need
Definitely.
this done, and I need it done like yesterday. Most of them they're in there and they'll knock it out for me because they know it's time sensitive. A lot of times it's not only me that's pushing them, it's the realtor that knows them that's maybe pushing
Right.
them also to get it on the market, so we can get, especially now when it's time to really sell a house,
Yeah,
good
definitely.
marketing time.
And Jackie, finally, some quick tips as far as staging for an open house.
Staging for an open house, what you really want to do is you want to grab that buyer when they come through the first door. So you want that entrance to be clean.
Okay.
You want to turn on all the lights. I say open all the windows so that let the light in.
Sure.
Play some soft music. I play that smooth jazz type music
Okay.
in the background. People say do cookies, but they just make me hungry when I go in the houses. So I say a soft lighted candle,
Okay.
nothing that's going to be offensive, like
Sure.
a vanilla
Clean
flavor
smell,
or
yeah.
something clean smelling.
Yeah.
But it's really important so people can see the house. And you don't want individuals walking into a dark room. You want them to walk in and see the room, and spend some time in the room. So if the lights aren't on and they're having to try to find a light switch,
Yeah.
they tend to not want to. They'll just keep moving.
Sure.
So that's the first thing I tell all my clients. When you have an open house or you have a listing appointment showing, turn on all the lights, help your realtor out, get the house ready to be shown.
Okay. Sometimes I have to tell the people, put some brighter light bulbs in these rooms, to
Right.
brighten up,
Yes.
It's one way of living with low lights, but sometimes, when you're showing a house, you have to have the bright lights to really brighten up the room also. And as we wrap up here, Jackie, contact information, if someone wanted to get a hold of you to get your advice or to have you help them with staging their home, how can they reach you? A phone number website?
I am
What's the best
based.
way to reach you?
Yeah, I'm based out of Yardley. I will go as far as Harrisburg because I'm a native of Harrisburg also.
Okay.
And I will go into Jersey. They can reach me at 717-991-5151. 717-991-5151. They can email me at praisejackie@comcast.net.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Jackie, thank you very much
Thank
for
you
your
for having
wisdoms.
me.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great show here today. Next week, we're going to have Michael Ivankovich. Michael was here a couple weeks ago talking about antique in Bucks County. And what Michael's going to be doing next week is talking about when a seller's ready to downsize and they have a lot of antiques in their home, how to go about getting that appraised and how to go about getting that sold also. So my name again is Paul Rosso. I'm with Remax Properties in Bucks County. If you have any questions for me, you can reach me at 215-778-9687. You can follow our show at buckscountyhomesandliving.com. You can follow us on Facebook at Good Life Bucks County. You can follow us on Twitter at Bucks County Live. And have a great week. And we look forward to seeing you around town in Bucks County. And we'll see you next